The light comes slow on mornings like this, easing through the curtains like it has nowhere particular to be. Outside, the world is still. A thin mist clings to the garden, softening the edges of everything. The wooden fence, the old apple tree, the lavender pots on the step. The house holds its breath. Somewhere upstairs, a small voice murmurs, not crying, just the soft sound a child makes in that half space between sleep and waking. A name, maybe, or nothing at all. The floorboards creak as she rises from the kitchen, setting down the cup she was holding. The wooden spoon goes back into the pot of oatmeal. Her hands are still warm from holding it. She climbs the stairs slowly, not because she must, but because there is no reason to hurry. Each step is a quiet thing. The familiar groan of the third stair, the slight lean of the banister, the way the hallway smells of laundry and something faintly sweet, like dried lavender and clean skin. The bedroom door is open just a crack. She pushes it with 2 fingers, and the hinges sigh. He is lying on his back in a small bed, one hand curled under his chin, the other stretched toward the window where the light pools on the quilt in a pale golden rectangle. His hair is a soft chaos of sleep. When he sees her, he does not smile exactly. It is more like a recognition, the slow blinking, the slight turn of the head, the way his whole body seems to exhale. She sits on the edge of the bed. The mattress dips. Good morning, little one. He reaches for her hand. His fingers are small and warm and still carry the faint indent of the sheets. She brings them to her lips one by one. He laughs. A tiny, raspy thing, still thick with sleep. The routine is simple, the way all good things are. She lifts him, and he weighs exactly what he should. Enough to feel real, not enough to be heavy. He rests his head against her shoulder, a familiar pressure, the shape of him made known to her by now, by months of this. The diaper is changed on the changing mat that smells faintly of chamomile, his feet kicking once, twice, in mild protest. She pulls up the small trousers, the soft blue ones with the whales on them that he chose himself, or seemed to, pointing with one determined finger while she held him upright in the drawer. Downstairs again, and the oatmeal has thickened. She stirs it slowly, adding a splash of milk, watching it swirl into the white. He is in the high chair now, contained but not confined, his hands working a wooden spoon that is far too big for him, banging it against the tray with the serious concentration of someone who has just discovered a law of physics. Breakfast is quiet. Oatmeal with a drift of cinnamon. A few blueberries pressed flat with the back of a fork. He eats some of it, drops some of it, examines what remains on his fingers with genuine curiosity. She eats hers standing at the counter, leaning against it, watching the garden through the window. A blackbird has landed on the fence. It cocks its head once, then disappears into the hedge. The morning fills itself slowly. She runs the water for the small bath. Not every day, but today feels like a bath day, the light soft enough to justify it. He watches from behind the baby gate as she pours the water, tests it with her wrist, arranges the towels on the wooden stool. The rubber duck goes in. He makes a sound of approval. He is not yet 2, and everything is still either wonderful or terrible, nothing in between. The water is wonderful. Having it poured on his head by mistake when she lifts him in is briefly terrible. She apologizes with her whole face. He forgives her with his. The small sound of his laughter when she blows bubbles onto his tummy is the best sound she knows. After, wrapped in the hooded towel that is soft from 100 washes, he is quiet and sweet and entirely cooperative in ways he never is when dressed. She pulls the t-shirt over his head, soft yellow, the color of morning light, and the diaper and the leggings with the stars. He holds up each foot when she asks. He has been doing this for a few weeks now, and it still surprises her, the way he complies not from obedience, but from a kind of trust, a willingness to be led through small rituals. The kitchen is still cluttered with breakfast. She washes the dishes while he sits on the floor with a stack of wooden blocks, building something that changes shape every 30 seconds. The water is warm. The soap smells of lemon. She hums something tuneless, and he looks up, stops building, listens, then returns to his work. The song is nothing. The song is everything. Mid-morning, the garden. The back door opens onto a small world that is enough. A square of grass, a flower bed, the old tree with the low branch. She carries him outside and sets him down, and he stands at the edge of the grass, looking at the sky as if he has never seen it before. Today it is white and even, a sky that gives no promises. He points at a bird. She tells him it is a sparrow. He says something that sounds like it. She decides he is right. He walks now, unsteady and pleased with himself, holding her hand with the fierce grip of someone who is still surprised by their own legs. He stops at the lavender and touches it, and she shows him how to brush it gently and smell the scent that rises. He does it 3 more times, the same spot, the same gesture, in the way of children who are still learning that the world is full of repeatable wonders. She picks a strawberry from the hanging basket, the first of the season, small and bright, and gives it to him. He eats it in 2 bites, juice running down his chin, and looks at her as if she has handed him something invaluable. Lunch is soup. She made it the night before, as she often does. Carrots and lentils, with a piece of kombu and a splash of rice wine that she simmers until the alcohol is gone and only the sweetness remains. She reheats it slowly while he naps, and the house is quiet in the way that houses are quiet when someone is sleeping in them. She washes the morning's clothes in the sink. She hangs them on the small drying rack by the window. She sits with her hands in her lap and looks at the light moving across the floor. He sleeps for an hour, sometimes 2. She does not use this time for anything important. She makes tea. She reads 3 pages of a book. She looks out the window at the changing sky and thinks of nothing in particular, which is a kind of luxury, a quiet treasure that no one can give you except the small hours of your own life. He wakes with a sound, not a cry, just a call. She goes to him. She lifts him. They stand at the window together, watching the light change, and he leans back into her, trusting the shape of her body to hold him upright. The afternoon is slow. They read a book on the bed, the same 3 books as yesterday and the day before, and he loves them more each time, pressing his face into the pages. She makes bread, the simple kind, no need, just flour and water and salt and time. He stands on a chair at the counter and watches. She gives him a small piece of dough and he flattens it, pokes it, abandons it. The flour on his nose is perfect. The bread goes into the oven, and the house fills with its smell, warm and yeasty and ancient. He sits on the floor with a box of wooden beads and threads them onto a shoelace with a focus that is entirely absorbed, his tongue just slightly visible at the corner of his mouth. Evening comes soft. There is no announcement, no sharp change, just a slow dimming, the sky going from white to rose to gray. She takes him outside one last time, to the garden, to see the sky. He points at the moon, which is just visible now, a pale curve behind the clouds. She tells him the moon says goodnight. He waves at it. He is serious about this. Dinner is bread, the bread she made with butter and a little honey. He eats it in small bites, savoring, and some falls on the floor, and the dog comes to collect it. She washes his hands in the sink, his wrists, behind his ears. The water is warm. He laughs when she washes behind his ears. Bedtime is the slowest part of the day, and she protects it fiercely. The bath is quick tonight, just the necessary washing. The pajamas are the soft green ones, the ones he loves. She brushes his teeth. He opens his mouth wide, proud of himself, and she tucks the blanket around him, and she sits on the edge of the bed with the lamp on low. She tells him a story, but the story is always the same. A small creature who lives in a forest and goes on a walk and meets other creatures, and everyone is kind to each other, and the walk ends with dinner and sleep. He does not need variation. He needs repetition, the comfort of knowing what comes next. He falls asleep the way he always does, slowly, with pauses, fighting it like it is a game, until suddenly it is not a game, and he is gone, his face soft and unguarded, his breath even and slow. She sits with him a moment longer. She always does. The house is quiet now, truly quiet, the kind of quiet that is not empty, but full of the day, full of what happened, full of the small evidence of a life lived in a small space. The blocks on the floor, the book on the bed, the spoon in the sink, the smell of bread, the shape in the blanket where someone has just been. She stands. She takes one last look. The nightlight glows. The curtains are drawn. Outside, the world is doing what the world does, turning, changing, keeping its own counsel. She closes the door. Tomorrow there will be another morning like this one. The light will come slow. The stairs will creak. The oatmeal will thicken on the stove. And someone will be waiting at the top of the stairs, small and awake and ready to begin again. She goes downstairs. She washes the dishes. She puts the kettle on. The house settles into night around her, warm and still, holding its breath the way it always does, like something precious, like something worth protecting, like the whole quiet world in a single room.